I like the idea that emotions are energy in motion, you know, emotions. But it is energy. Well, everything is energy, you know. I'm not going to get too esoteric before I get into it a little bit. But yeah, let's see what she's got here. Is Folklore going to follow it, or mind you, Folklore was the album before, wasn't it? So this is cool, though, isn't it? Cool.
I'm like the water when your ship rolled in that night. Rough on the surface, but you cut through like a knife. And if it was an open shut case, never would have known from the look on your face. Lost in your current like a priceless wine. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind.
Yeah, this is nice, isn't it, man? When it got to the follow bit, then the follow, I was like, I was that close to singing along, man. You know, I should have. So it does. Already, it does just sound better. And this is like, it's very sort of witchy, isn't it? This like magical. So would it be fair to say like Folklore is from maybe I don't remember the stories, I suppose, or, well, I do actually, because I did all the long puns. I'm just thinking what songs are on Folklore. But Folklore kind of feels like the people one, and Evermore, the magical creatures one, from the point of view of, maybe, energetically. Does that make any sense whatsoever? I don't know.
Wait for the signal, and I'll meet you after dark.
The guitar motif is nice, isn't it? Fleetwood Mac-esque. But then it kind of goes, you know, somewhere else with the song.
Like the water when your ship rolled in that night. Rough on the surface, but you cut through like a knife. And if it was an open shut case, never would have known from the look on your face. Lost in your current like a priceless wine. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. Head on the pillow, I could feel you sneaking in, as if you were a mythical thing, like you were a trophy or a champion ring. There was one prize that she'd to win. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream could take you home anywhere.
It's really cool.
Begging for you to take my.
It's cool, isn't it? The way what's it called, the walkway, you know, how they've got them screens on, how the fire's following them as they're walking. Just the thought that's gone into the show is just gorgeous, isn't it?
There was one prize that she'd to win.
And I suppose like most artists would have like consultants and people to design all this sort of stuff for them, wouldn't they? And maybe Taylor does have, you know, I guess she's got to have teams to put all, well, of course she's got to have teams to put it all together. She's not building the stages and designing them herself. However, just from what I've seen, you know, she's all these ideas. She's like, wouldn't that be cool? You know, if we have this. It's mostly coming from her, right? That's why I would just love to see on a Rolling Stones DVD. Which one is it? It might have been the 40 Licks collection or a Bigger Bang. There was like years ago. There was these world tour, like 8 DVD box set things that came out, and they had like documentaries on, and you saw like Mick in the meetings, you know, talking about the logistics of doing it all and that, but then like the set design and stuff, and you had various designers chirping in with things, and mostly I guess he was pretty, you know, strong on what he wanted, but people would suggest things, and he kind of would say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, like let's try that, you know, how do we do this? So it would be awesome to see something like that, wouldn't it? I don't suppose this has been put out on DVD, has it, with something like that? I'm proper Swiftie now, I guess, right? I'm just a junkie for content. I want all the behind the scenes and all that.
The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream can take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. They count me out time and time again. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. But I come back stronger than a 90s trend.
I do love that line, man. I think in general, I think this song isn't for me, you know, but I still respect, you know, the artistry and everything that goes into it. I was going to say I love that line there. I'll come back stronger than a 90s trend. I'm not sure how I feel about that line, because it kind of takes me out of the illusion a little bit, you know, of the era of, well, I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like, well, I mean, unless you're talking about 1890s, but 90s, yeah, 90s trends do seem to be. This is on a bit of a side note now, but is it just me? Is it just the age I am now? But, you know, since the war, I suppose, or since rock and roll sort of happened, or the teenager became a thing, each decade seems to have its sort of style, you know. It's fashion, you know. It's its own identity, and was the 90s the last sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Defining the last sort of strong decade that had an identity. Is that how I would word it? Maybe the noughties, or whatever we call that weird decade after. Beginning of the 2000s, maybe that had it as well. But now it just seems, yeah, there just seems to be a strong 80s influence, a strong 90s influence. And then just, I guess, yeah, everything just seems a bit all mixed up now. Would you agree? But having said that, you know, I don't. Maybe it's something we can only realise in hindsight. You know, looking back on times. What do you think?
Wait for the signal and I'll meet you after dark. Where the others keep you scars. Now this is an open shut case. Guess I should have known from the look on your face. Every vein and sweat switch was a work of art. More that you say, the less I
Man, like even though like I'm not the biggest fan of this era, I suppose, this song, just the enjoyment that you can see on her face and in her eyes, like I just love it. Like, you know, she just draws you in, doesn't she? You know?
switch was a work of art.
That little bit there, you know, I love it.
Less I know, whenever you stray, I follow, begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream can take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. More that you say, less I know. Whenever you stray, I follow, begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream.
See, I do love that bit there is interesting, because the bit where the bridge would come or something usually, but it's the same words, a very similar melody, isn't it? But it's not a key change, is it? It's just the way she sings it is slightly different. I've noticed this in songs before. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't. But what exactly is it there that's happening?
Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream can take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. More that you say, less I know. Whenever you stray, I follow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream can take you home.
So yeah, what is that, man? It's like is it chords that are different or something? The lyric as well. Was it my dreams can take, only my dreams can take you home? That's interesting, isn't it? Let me just make sure I've got that line right.
Now this is an open shut
I've taken it a little bit back too far. Is it possible to take it back too far?
That switch was a work of art. More that you say, the less I know. Whenever you stray, I follow, begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man. You know that my dream can take you home.
So the lyric, I suppose, maybe it's the style that it doesn't speak to me, maybe, you know, of the music. So maybe I don't listen as intently as I should because of that. Because just some of the lyrics, man, are just. I mean, I could probably just do a podcast, just, you know, going through the lyrics song by song, couldn't I, and just waffling on, you know, in the way that I do. But the more you speak, the less I know. So it's about being under somebody's spell, isn't it? You know, but it's about being under somebody's spell, I guess. But it's I don't know. I'm gonna put a pin in that, you know, and maybe I will come back to this and just read the lyrics. My dreams can take you home. So that's kind of it. It feels aloof in its nature, that, you know, because I feel now, I suppose, since I've been with my girlfriend, is that I've got like a sense of calm that I never ever had before, you know. And I never realised that I didn't have it, you know. I didn't realise I was kind of in fight or flight for all of my life. And yeah, so now I feel that my dreams are more achievable because of the stability she gives me, you know, as well as love and encouragement and calling me out when I'm, you know, my bullshit, or, you know, telling me when I can do better and all that sort of stuff. But telling me when I can do it, you know, and yeah, it's right, you know. all that sort of stuff. But I mean, I feel now that the dream is more of a possibility than ever, you know. Because only her dreams could take me home. Do they become our dreams? Is it a collective thing? But anyway, in this context, it's making me think of, like, I've got this image, you know, of a spirit, you know, calling to you, a fairy or whatever, calling you, a little sprite or whatever, calling you into the forest, you know. And this sort of mythology, this sort of area is a really rich area for storytelling, isn't it? And exploration of life, you know. All these sort of myths and things that have stayed around for thousands of years. Only my dreams can take you home. So that could be like is that a genuine call, you know, or is it a trap, you know? And speaking about sprites and forests and things, I think, doesn't the myth of like King Arthur and the search for the Holy Grail, there's a part of that myth, I think, where each night, I think they arrive at the edge of a forest or whatever, you know, and they don't know how to or where to go to continue. So each night walks into the point of the forest that looks the darkest to them, or the most maybe scary or fearful or whatever, you know. And it's different for all of them. And I guess like the metaphor of that is that you know, the cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek, right? Is that Joseph Campbell or somebody said that? But I think what we need most is often found where we least want to look, right? And I think that kind of thing is encoded in fairy tales and all that jazz. Probably in like biblical stories and all sorts, you know, just there seems to be great wisdom in all these really old stories, you know, and I'm yet to kind of delve into them, but I just hear bits and pieces that well, I hear bits and pieces and I hear people explain bits and pieces, you know. So I mean, none of this is like, you know, really first-hand wisdom in that wise. But it's all just bits, you know, I've sort of collected, you know, not on purpose, you know, because I tend to remember the things that interest me, I guess. Although I wish I could remember more or articulate better, you know. That's another great thing I saw was, what was it? A stupid man's recitation, repeating of something, of an ideal, or an idea can never be taken seriously. I'm butchering this completely, but this is a good illustration of my point, you know, because the point is because he automatically, well, maybe I should lay a bit of groundwork for this. So yeah, if like a person of lower intelligence, you know, is listening to somebody great articulate a fantastic idea, you know, or, you know, ponder it anyway, he's not a reliable source for what has been said, because he automatically translates what he hears into something that he can understand. Okay, I think I've got close enough to the point of that. Anyway, let's get back to the topic now.
Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. You know that
I do kind of like this, to be honest.
anywhere else is harder. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. More that you say, the less I know. Whenever you stray, I follow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. You know that my train can take you home.
So as well, man, like I've not really listened to this much, but the words are kind of already in my head, you know, the melody is certainly. So is this about the spirit of adventure, maybe even, you know, that we don't really know if it's going to be safe or not, or if it's the right way or not. But the comfort zone is where dreams go to die and stuff, isn't it? So that's what it's kind of saying to me now, is that we're all, that's what life kind of is, isn't it? You know, life is an adventure, or should be an adventure. And we are called to adventure, I think, by the things that interest us. And that's why we should follow our curiosities, because then that's why we should follow our curiosities, and that's why we should tell the truth, because it's only then that we can live out our adventure, you know, the story of our lives, the adventure of our lives. Because if we don't do that, we live out the spirit of the lie, you know, and our ghosts or spirits or, you know, all that jazz real. Thing I've said before, you know, I don't think it matters, you know, whether and what is real. We can get into that jazz then, right? What is real? I don't know. Do you know? Where do ideas come from? Where do thoughts come from? Are ideas spirits trying to make themselves manifest in this reality? Ideas like that, man, just... But anyway, the call to adventure, that's pretty much like, what do they call it, the hero's journey in like storytelling. But kind of all stories that we love, you know, in film or literature, that it's all about adventure in one way or another, isn't it? And we experience life as a story, don't we? A story that we tell ourselves, like a narrative that we tell ourselves. And it's just so important, isn't it? We've been telling each other stories since the beginning of time, I imagine. But storytelling is so important to help us understand ourselves and life, each other, to nurture our souls, you know. Wonderful. Just, wow, look at this, man. Look at it. I kind of got lost a little bit in my digressions and I guess the intimacy of the way the cameras were set up, and I forgot like just where it was, what it is. It's just so incredible, man. Incredible.